All right, so we should be on air. I know there's a couple people watching. We've got a few people on the chat. Um, and so I'll start off with a brief introduction to the chat, the topic. I'll run through, we'll go through the questions that have been asked in advance. And then as we go, I'd like anybody who's viewing the chat to go ahead and post their questions online. And then also post, if you could post an introduction to yourself and what you're doing or what your business is, that would really help along with the question that you might have, and that way we can take it from there and we have a little bit more context with which to answer the questions. All right, so for those of you who don't know, I'm Josh Ledgard. I'm co-founder of KickoffLabs, and welcome to our live chat series. Our product, KickoffLabs, is a tool that helps you generate leads for any type of campaign with landing pages, opt-in form, and email marketing replies. I love doing this chat series because we're happy to answer questions anytime that come into support, and people always send us questions about best practices, asking us to review their landing pages, and this is just a great way to sort of take that opportunity and broaden and share it with a wider list of people. So today our goal is, we've done landing page reviews, we've done set topics. Today we wanted to see if we could make it more interactive and give you guys a chance to ask us questions. We've got some questions that people asked in advance when they signed up for the chat, and we've got some answers to go along with that. But what would be great is if the people who are live in the chat had some questions and wanted to ask them. That'll make this a lot more fun. Also with me today is Izzy. So he's the marketing guru that's pulled together a lot of our recent landing page reviews. He's been involved in the chats, and he's going to give his 2 cents on the questions that we're asking as well. So feel free to introduce yourself a little bit more, Izzy.
Sure thing. Thanks everybody for joining us for today's webinar, and once again, as always, looking forward to provide some great advice, and we're actually looking forward to answering your questions directly. So be sure to send them in through the chat.
All right. So the first question I got is basically, does putting up an email capture or any sort of form before allowing somebody to view a download or a PDF or your content scare away prospects? And so that's a fairly common question. And let me share my screen so I can kind of give some examples here. Because there's a lot of interesting context to that question in the text there. One was a giveaway, one was your content in general, and so I wanted to kind of talk about two of those things separately. So first, let me share the screen and I can kind of show you guys some stuff. All right, so you guys should see my my screen with the question up there, and the question was lengthier. I simplified it down so it'd fit on the slide. But let's go into a couple of examples. So in general, if you're doing a campaign and your goal is to capture more leads and giving away something of value, I think having the content previewed on the landing page as a teaser, and then giving away the download is the best way to approach it, because your goal isn't just to give this content away. Your goal is to build your audience and grow the email address. So in this case, we run a campaign. We did a book essentially of bad art, great advice, great entrepreneurs, and then we give away some free advice, and it's basically some drawings taken from to explain some concepts like, developing your minimum path to awesome, and it's a fun sketchbook we put together. Some sayings, and overnight success is measured in years. and then a year count on the bottom. You can kind of get the sense of what this book is. There's 15 additional slides, in addition to about 40 slides. There's about 60 pages of content in the 99 sketches actually, inspired of advice for entrepreneurs. We give away about 6 or 7 of the slides, the sketches on this page as a teaser, and we ask people to submit their email address for the rest. And then what we do is after they fill it out, after they fill out the form, I believe we give them the download right here, and then they'll also get an email address, an email with the link to download it back. And the one way to think about this, and the follow-up question that people often ask is, well, okay, so now you can download it, and they've got this PDF. What if they then give it away? Shouldn't you be making so the download and the link is buried, or only good for them, or it only goes to the one person? And that's where I say, you know what? That's okay. If somebody wants to then take your branded PDF, your ebook, and then email it to 100 of their friends, you should be thrilled. But I think most people are going to be well behaved. They're going to go put in their email address, and they're going to tell their friends and say, hey, here's where I got this. You can get it there too. And then you get kind of the best of both worlds. So I'm not obscuring it. We're not preventing people from just handing the PDF out to other people. I mean, it's a free resource. We're not charging anything for it. We're just collecting the email address. But at the same time, we're saying, yeah, we do want to grow our audience. We do want to capture your email address in return for this, in return for the value that we're giving you. And I think you have to strike the right balance with that kind of, downloadable content that makes a lot more sense to be a download as a PDF or something that nature. But if your content is more along the lines of a blog post that goes up, and I look at, I just pull up our blog as an example, and I look at our recent teardown page. You'll notice there's no email that you have to enter to force you. We actually don't do a pop-up that blocks you from reading the page. It won't come up after 5 seconds of reading the page to kind of encourage you to put the email address in. I'm sort of a believer that this kind of content should stand on its own, and we've got some places, some calls to action at the bottom of the post, and we've got some calls to action to sign up right there. So our call to action was to register for the next chat, and then if I try and leave the page, then you'll see we do a sign-up form, an opt-in form that says, hey, give us your email address, and we'll get you on our Landing Pages 107 email course. We didn't block anybody from doing what they came to, which is if they got the blog link, reading the content, but we do subtly give a nudge in a direction of a call to action, and then an exit form call to action for what goes on to help capture the email address. And so those are kind of the two scenarios. One is sort of that lighter weight content that goes out there, and the other is resources that produce real significant value, like the 99-page book about a topic out there. And so, Izzy, I'd love to know if you have your 2 cents on when you should or shouldn't block people from entering their email address before they get the content.
Sure, thanks. Actually, well, you have some really, really great points. Let me share my screen as well. Just let me pull up a page, and I'll start sharing my screen. But I really like the example of our Bad Art, Good Advice ebook download, because, as you said, it's not we're not preventing people from sharing it. We're not trying to bury the ebook download somewhere in the auto response email. It appears right away in the thank you and share message. So it's a lot of people tend to try to protect too much content, and Josh has a great point. I mean, you have to be willing to give away tons of content for free, and that's how you're going to be driving visitors to your site. That's pretty much the most important thing. Just not being scared of presenting your content in different formats on different platforms, and being open to give at least a portion of it away for free.
Yeah, that's a great point, Izzy, is there's a balance where you think about dividing your content up into two parts. One which is, this is what's going to help drive traffic, and another which is, this is the content that's going to drive conversions or drive people to convert to my list. And I think it's important to make that distinction as you're developing content. Something, for example, that I've been thinking of is we've posted now 10 or 12 or probably I think 8 or 9 sets of landing page reviews now, with about 8 or 9 pieces each. And if we stitch those together into a really well-formatted, categorized book, that's where I might say the free content, the teaser content is out there, but it would be worth us creating a page to get people to opt in just to get that book of, here's a book where you can print it out of 100 landing page case studies. And I think you can combine the efforts like that of saying having one which is taking some of your best and most hit upon blog posts and then having them as a piece of evergreen content that you give away in the future, and use the blog or your other content distribution channels as sort of a way to test and see what are people really interested in, and you take your highest trafficked piece and you expand on it. So
and you expand on it and you bundle them, right, Josh? I mean, the key is to kind of like bundle some of your best content, because you could get a nice long form ebook bundling some of your best performing blog posts. So also a great strategy.
Yep. So the next question, Kelly, I'm glad you came. It was great to have you. Great to have you there while we were answering the question. If you have any follow-ups, feel free to post the question, and same for anybody else who's listening. If there's any questions that you have, post away to the chat. So the second prearranged question I have was, how do I convince users to sign up for an undeveloped product? And that is a great question. One which we sort of did an entire webinar for, about eight hacks to launching successfully. It was targeted at people who are launching an undeveloped product that's not there. And so,
sorry, Josh, I'll go ahead and post a link to that in the chat as well.
That'd be great. And this is obviously a lot of our customers are doing this, and so we see this all the time. And to me, the answer is, I have two ways of looking at the answer, and it depends on sort of how undeveloped the product is. It's much easier in the case that, let's say, the product is halfway developed but not ready for a large audience. What works really well is to get people to sign up by offering them early access, offering them a sneak peek or a preview of what's there, and then getting using that as motivation to get people to sign up. And sort of there's two sides to that. The question is, how do I get people to sign up? The first part is what can you make as an incentive? If you've got some sort of sneak peek or early access, you can clearly make that an incentive for getting people to sign up. The other another way to go about incentive is to say, hey, for joining our list early, when we launch, you're going to get a huge discount on a yearly plan or the merchandise that you want to deliver. So you need to think through and I think this is the most important part that a lot of people miss when they set up a launch page. Is a lot of people will set up a launch page and simply say, hey, my product is this awesome new X, and it's coming soon. Sign up now. And what's lacking on those pages is an incentive. And so that's really the trick, is without having a product, what can you do to incentivize people to sign up? It can be related to the product. There's three categories, as in early access or sneak peek. Like I said, that's one category. Another category is a discount, so a financial incentive for people to sign up. So if it's something that you're going to be charging for, giving people a discount for joining your email list and your audience early is a simple incentive that works. And then the third category is the is the hey, I'm going to give you something that's going to help you solve your problem in the meantime. So it's sort of almost what we just covered, which is a related information product. So if your product is, for example, if somebody's launching a new service to give lawn care to folks and say, hey, we're opening a new lawn care reservation system to get your lawn mowed and taken care of on a weekly basis, enter your email address, but the product's not launched yet and you can't actually sign up. To get people to sign, or you can't actually register and start using it. To get people to sign up, you might say, hey, if you sign up now, we'll give you five tips on lawn care. It's basically giving something of value in return. So that third category is also one that's overlooked by most people starting up a product, is to realize that if you're launching a product, you're probably a domain expert, and how do you leverage that domain expertise for getting people to sign up? And it should be really easy for you to put together some content, some blog posts, and be able to get people to sign up using that as a form of incentive. So hopefully that's my take on the question. So and I know Izzy posted the link to the chat, and I'll just kind of open that up and pull that over here, and we can kind of
go ahead and comment something real quick, Josh, about that incentive, because especially for a product or a service that hasn't launched yet, I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to give anything that's part of your product or service until later on in the future, until it's ready. But it's extremely important to have something that's immediate for them, because, like you said, offering a PDF download of an ebook with some lawn care tips, or just something that's relevant and related to your industry, and something that'll help solve your customers' problems. But I do believe that they need something immediate, because if you're not offering something that'll give this, that'll give your users this instant gratification, it's going to be hard to get people to sign up, especially for an underdeveloped product.
Yep. And I'm scanning through the blog post, which people can read after the chat. I think something that may be implied in the question is not there. Is we've talked about incentives on how to get people to sign up. That assumes you've gotten people to the page in the first place to sign up. And I think where a lot of people fail, and we see a lot of points of failure with customers, is getting people to the page in the first place. And so a really key thing, if you have an undeveloped product, you probably also have an undeveloped audience, is thinking through where that audience lives online, and where you can be drawing those people, whether it's targeted Facebook ad campaigns or whether it's niche communities where people talk about the topic, where you can grab those people and get them to your page so that they can even see your incentives. So there's the two halves of that, and there's a lot more covered in the in that blog post and the video that's there from our launch recap. So let's see. Here's a fourth question. How do I boost my conversion rate? I was hoping the person who asked the question would be here, and we could talk kind of specifically about things for them, because but the reason I put up this really general question is because I wanted to cover some things that people can think about, or the way that I tend to think about boosting a conversion rate when I look at something. So the first thing I do when I look at it is I try and find what the low-hanging fruit is. So what the biggest pain point is, what the biggest problem is that's blocking people from signing up. And so, one easy way to do that is and when people ask me to look at their pages and say, how can I get more signups, I'll generally go look at a few things. One, I'll see that the top of the funnel, are they even getting people to view their page? And that's the first thing I look at to say, hey, well, part of your problem is you're only getting, 10 people a day to look at your page, and so you might want to focus your efforts not on how you optimize your conversion rate, but how you optimize getting people to the page. And even if somebody says, well, I've had 100 people to the page and only 5 have converted. That's a really small number, 100 people to the page, to be able to judge whether or not, well, if just 4 more people converted, you've doubled your conversion rate, and you might just be rolling the dice on what kind of conversion rate you have if you just left the page the way it was. So I tend to see people making the mistake of optimizing a page or an offer before they're optimizing the traffic. If they have traffic and their conversion rate is low, the next thing I look at is what is the quality of traffic that they have coming in. So you'll see a couple different examples of people who have traffic coming from. Let me stop sharing the screen a moment. People who have traffic coming from a source like Google or Facebook ads, and I'll look at their ad campaigns, and you sort of question, are the people coming from those sources the ones that you want to be converting on the page? And sometimes the answer is no. You look at the ad campaign, and the ad campaign is promising X, but the landing page is delivering Y. And it's really important to make those two things match up so that when somebody clicks and sees an ad, they're seeing, I want X, and they get to the landing page, and there's clearly sign up for X on the landing page. And it's, even if an ad is the most obvious case, but it also see it when people link to their landing page from other locations, like if you're answering questions in a community and you link back to your landing page, but the landing page has nothing to do with that community and not related, that's not high quality traffic, and neither is the person from an ad that doesn't relate to the landing page. And so that's the second thing I look at is, are you getting the right people to the landing page to know whether or not you can boost, you have a good conversion rate, or whether or not you should even start optimizing on the landing page for the conversion rate. So then traffic and then quality traffic are the first two things I look at. And then the next thing I look at is, okay, assuming that they've got traffic, and assuming the traffic seems related to what they're giving away on the landing page, and they say, I want to boost my conversion rate, then the next thing I look for is what we've just talked a lot about, and I won't go over it too much, is what is their incentive? Like, why should somebody sign up? And that's one of the first things I look for on the page, as well as some other landing page best practices, like, is it obvious where I should sign up? And you'd be surprised how many people will design a page and it'll be this long form sales copy page, which is okay, but the only link to the sign up is way at the bottom, and there's a tiny link and you have to scroll to see it, and there's nothing that implies what the call to action is at the top of the page. So is the call to action obvious on the page? And that's a really simple thing to fix and to ask. You could just ask a few people to look at your page and say, is it obvious what I'm supposed to do here? And if the answer is no, go back and make it obvious. Then if they've got incentive and they've got a call to action that's clear on the page, then you have to start looking at headlines on the page, and you start looking at the actual copy. So notice with those first two things, the call to action, incentive, I'm not actually really looking at the copy much on the page. I'm looking at just mostly visual, but also the monetary reward or the incentive. Does it match up to what you're asking the customer to do on the landing page, or what you're asking them to purchase? And so then I'll look at the headlines that are on the page. So I don't read the detailed copy at first. I just read and scan the headlines. Say, do the headlines convey what they should be conveying for the specific page? And that's the next part where people fall down on the copy, is thinking about the headlines and the primary images that draw your eyes and what people read on their landing pages. Then if you start looking at those sort of things, and you've got a clear call to action, you've got incentive, you've got great headlines, it maps to what the audience is expecting, then you go into the detailed copy on the page and say, does that line up with the headlines? And each of these steps along the way, you get diminishing returns. So because a lot of people make their decision without reading the paragraph text, they'll just read the headlines. And so if you over-optimize your paragraph text, you've got diminishing returns compared to just swapping out and trying different headlines on the page. The last thing I look for is are there incentives for sharing? So once somebody is signed up, are you getting that that viral boost to your conversion rate. So with KickoffLabs pages, this is actually a feature built into every page where when somebody signs up, we give them a sharing link and say, hey, here's a way for you to share it with your friends, and we allow you to incentivize that as you deem fit. So if you add incentive to that, we've seen pages go from a 10% viral boost rate to a 40 to 45% viral boost rate, and the average across our platform is about 35%. So if you just enable that sharing without even much of an incentive on it, you're just asking them, hey, you thought this was cool, maybe your friends will, click here to share, and you present them with that opportunity on the thank you page, that's an instant boost to your conversion rate. And that's the last thing I look for when I'm looking at the high level aspect of people's pages. So Izzy, do you have anything you want to add there?
You didn't really leave too much for me, Josh, because
I didn't plan to.
That's extremely detailed. So I'm gonna keep things very, very simple. Since Josh talked about optimizing your traffic sources, your traffic quality, your copy. I guess my key advice for landing pages would be to keep your page simple. Keep the page basic. You want a basic headline, not too short, because you do want to describe what your company does, what your product does, and you do want to inform customers. But you don't want to over-explain your company, which is what I tend to see a lot of our customers doing in early stages of their product development. They'll try to over-explain it. Why? Because they're trying to effectively get their message across. They want to make sure that people understand it, but every now and then I'll see some over-explanation. So keeping it simple, very important. Also, I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with sometimes I feel pages are a little bit crowded. So if you're putting just too much copy, maybe just too many call to actions, that's going to cause too many distractions, and it's going to hinder people from signing up. And another thing would I guess my last piece of advice would be to choose an attractive color scheme, or are there too many colors on your page? Just try not to distract, try not to pull visitors' eyes into too many directions. That's my advice.
And I think this is something that came up in one of our recent landing page reviews, is that something to look at, and of course I've never seen it with one of our customers, but does the landing page or the site there, so you kind of have to be honest with yourself and say, does this look like it's from some seedy corner of the internet? A lot of conversion is thinking about trust, and there are trust factors on a page, and one of them is it's really hard to quantify. You can't measure it on a page, but just to what degree does this look trustworthy? And you know it when it's sort of you know it when you see it. You've been to pages on the internet where you say this just does not look trustworthy, and that's an important part to the conversion rate. That's really not something that anybody could measure about a page, but you ask a few people, does this page look trustworthy? And if a couple people say no, then you might want to think about, why doesn't it look trustworthy, and what can you do to improve that? Could it be some quotes from successful users? Could it be some industry quotes? Is it the color scheme, like Izzy said, that makes it look like it's not a very trustworthy page?
Using font colors that are blue and red and aren't links, that automatically screams scammy.
Yeah.
So don't use blue and red text unless they're linked. Links are fine.
Yep. So the next question that we get pretty frequently and came in as well, and I'm going to let Izzy take the lead on this question. Maybe he has something he wants to share as well. As how do I properly kick off a Kickstarter campaign? So I've simplified the question a great deal. There are all sorts of variations. Basically, the scenario that we get is people are starting to come to landing pages to try and grow an audience because they eventually want to do a crowdfunding campaign, frequently on Kickstarter being the popular crowdfunding source. And so there's a lot. There's a lot to think about if you're doing a crowdfunding campaign and how you should be pre-marketing your Kickstarter campaign. And I'm going to let Izzy talk about that because he's been working on a much longer piece of content related to this.
I have been working on a great post that should be ready hopefully in the next few days, and we'll get that out for you because we have tons of people asking how can they optimize their crowdfunding campaigns. If you're not entirely sure what crowdfunding is, I mean it's a huge trend now. But basically it's obtaining customers before you launch, and this is through a platform that helps you monetize the entire process. So it's actually very cool. But crowdfunding, it's just super important to build your audience before you actually crowdfund. Let me go ahead and pull up a couple pages that I have here as examples. One sec. As I said, I was just working on the post, so I'm pulling up the pages now. Okay, so you should be seeing Piggy. Josh, can you confirm that you're seeing that?
I see black right now. I don't see anything yet on the screen. I see your cursor, but I don't see anything on the screen.
Strange. One sec.
Now I see you.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I'm getting like errors from Google Hangouts. One sec. How about now?
Genius.
There we go. Okay, so we're looking here at a customer of ours. They're called they're actually called Startup Inventors, but they're releasing a product called BitPiggy, and you know, I just love this page because it's a great example of like they're preparing their audience, letting them know that they're coming to Kickstarter. They haven't even launched on Kickstarter yet. So basically what they're doing now, they're just informing people. It's a fairly attractive page. You know, the headlines are short. It's pretty brief. There are some nice images with with like a 360-degree spin to view. So it's a fairly attractive page. But what's important about the page is that they're actually gauging interest in people that would be interested in actually buying this on Kickstarter. This actually looks like it's already almost part of the Kickstarter campaign process, but this is just a KickoffLabs page. So basically, if I just enter my email address and I choose a reward level, like which is the one that I would be most likely to support. This doesn't mean that I'm going to be putting up my card at this moment. They're actually just gauging interest, measuring how many people would be interested in the campaign. And if you submit it, you get thanks for your interest. I should be getting an auto response email, which I just got here. I can confirm it on my app on my iPad, and like I said, basically what they're doing, they're just measuring how many people would be interested before launching. Why is this important? This is important because, especially when you're doing Kickstarter or crowdfunding campaigns, you need to launch to a decently sized audience. When I say decent, I mean there's no hard and fast rules for the minimum number, but you basically want to try to get. Josh has mentioned a number of 2,000 people, which I strongly agree with, but it kind of depends on your market. It kind of depends on your niche. So
And obviously how much money you're trying to raise.
Oh yeah, obviously how much money you are trying to raise. Exactly. Very important. But let me show you another page, which actually this is my post. You're actually seeing my post in process.
And I'll just say while you're looking for that, I love the pre-testing the reward level, because that's going to help inform them how many people they need to get to raise the money that they're looking for. So if everybody who came to the page said they would only ever contribute $1, they know they need to get a lot more people or change the reward levels or their incentives on the page to get it. So the testing that is going to really help them optimize the Kickstarter campaign going forward. I think that's a great idea.
Exactly. It is a very, very good idea, actually. Okay. So we were looking at the BitPiggy page. I'm going to quickly show you just another page. That's pretty much doing the same thing where they're just gauging initial interest. They have a pretty attractive landing page here, which links to their. Well, actually, okay. Well, they just launched actually because this yesterday was, or 2 days ago, was actually linking to their KickoffLabs page. So my applause to them. This is a customer of ours, and they just launched their Kickstarter campaign. So I guess my point being is that by their efforts of just trying to build an audience before they actually launched, check this out. I mean, like in 2 days, they already have a pretty nice chunk of their goal. So it's just a great strategy. Josh, I'm not sure if there's anything else that you'd like to mention. I don't want to give too much away because this is a great presentation that we'll be getting into in our next webinar.
Yep. Yeah, it's fine. It's great to sneak peek this, but I wanted to kind of get people a chance to see the answer to the question. So, does anybody on the chat have any other questions they'd like us to go after and tackle for them? All right, going once, going twice, going 3 times. All right, so I'm not hearing any requests for more questions. I want to thank the people that have jumped on, that have joined the chat today. I know there's a lot of kind of people just lurking and watching the video, and that we're wrapping up. And then I just have to, I have to do my pitch. If you're not already a KickoffLabs customer, you should be. And our goal is to kind of help you stop tweaking and fiddling around with just landing pages and build smarter campaigns. So a smarter campaign goes beyond a landing page. It thinks about, are there opt-in forms you should be doing? What are your email replies? Are you doing that post conversion boost to get people to go out there? Do you have your team members involved in getting notifications, or designers and developers working together? And are you getting the best insights? Are you getting demographic data on the people that are signing up? As you can see, these are just a few of the small things that kind of make our tool invaluable for folks. But a great campaign goes well beyond just coming up with the landing page, and we recognize that, and we've got the tools to go beyond just coming on with landing pages. Some of our customers, people at marketing existing businesses or launching a new product for an existing business. Clearly, startups are one of our great customers. We've got, if you're an agency, we've got some great tools to bring on clients and set up campaigns for clients. And we've got a lot of people who are e-commerce folks who love to run contests and email capture tools. So it's a great solution for running contests and growing an existing audience. If you've got 10,000 people on a mailing list and you want 20, it's a great tool to help you get there. All of our pages are mobile-ready, responsive, and we love helping you. So if you sign up and you've got any questions or you think something seems difficult, just let us know. And everybody who's used our service will tell you that we've got great support. Give us a shot and stay tuned for next week. We're actually going to do an extra webinar next week talking about the recent changes we just launched on our product. And so we've got some big changes that have just rolled out. We're working on some even bigger changes. So there'll be a webinar next Thursday in addition to a regularly scheduled one 2 weeks from now. And so stay tuned. There'll be an email that goes out to remind you about next Thursday as well. Thanks, and have a great day.